Welcome back to our channel. In this tutorial, I'm going to be taking you through Microsoft Access. Basically, what we are going to cover here, we are going to design a simple database. I'll use dummy data so that it can help us to design some tables, forms. We are going to also look at queries. We are going to generate reports out of those queries. Then after, we shall go to some advanced stages. I will show you how to design some simple if statements using queries. We are going to do some computations, how to automatically add columns into queries, okay, using some functions or formulas that are provided by Microsoft Access. So if you're a beginner to Microsoft Access, this is the best tutorial for you. If you want to advance still, this is a good tutorial for you. So just follow along. And basically, when you open Microsoft Access, this is the window that you first see. And from here, what we are interested in is creating a new database. By creating a new database, when you open Microsoft Access, by default, it selects a blank database here. And then after, what you're seeing here under file name is the name for your database. So by default, Microsoft Access keeps on auto-generating the names based on the databases you've created. So here it has created database 4, meaning that I have database 1, database 2, and database 3 already created. So what I will do is to just punch in my database name. I'll call it that. Now, if you want to save your database somewhere, you click on this folder icon, and then a window will open here. So you can be able to change to that directory that you want to save your database to. So I'll just select desktop and then click OK. So my database is saved on local disk C in users, Roger, and then desktop. So usually you can confirm the location of your database before creating it from here. Now, after confirming that your database is going to be saved in the right location, you can go ahead and click on create. So when you click on create, it is going to open up the home window for Microsoft Access. Basically, what you're going to be interacting with here is just the ribbon. This ribbon here, where you're having different tools. You have the file tab, you have the home tab, you have the create tab, you have the external data, database tools, we have the table tools, which are where we find the fields and the tables basically for designing your table. We have the title bar, the one you're seeing in red, which displays the database name. Then we have the quick access here, where you're going to be able to save changes, to undo and redo. Basically, most of these ones you're going to get familiar with them, or if you've used Microsoft Word, if you've used Microsoft Excel, if you've used Microsoft PowerPoint, name them. Most of these tools are the same. A few change based on the package. So for Microsoft Access, in the home, you're seeing the fonts where you format your text, where you do the find, the clipboard, the sorting and filter. It is the same as Microsoft Word. It is the same as other packages for Microsoft. So basically, these ones, I'm not going to go through them. My main focus for this tutorial is going to be under the create, where we are going to look at tables. We are going to look at designing queries, forms, reports. For macros and codes, for beginners, let's not mind about this for now. This requires you to have some programming background. If you have some programming background and you're interested in connecting your database maybe to Microsoft Visual Basic, then you can go ahead to look into macros. But for starters, I will advise you to concentrate on these 4 that you're seeing. Also, we are not interested in the templates, so we shall ignore templates. We are going to ignore macros. So what you're seeing here, the tables, the queries, the forms, and the reports, they are basically what we are going to be interacting with so that we can design a simple database. Okay. Now, These ones, for you to master them properly, we are going to understand them in a chronological order. If you want to create a database, let's say to manage your employee information, that means you need you need to create a table where you're going to store your employee data. After creating that table for your employees to be stored in, then you have to insert those employee records into the tables. For you to insert those records into the tables, use what we call forms. Okay. After now designing your forms, you're going to start recording each record or inserting each record into the table you created using the forms. After inserting that information into the tables, now what next? You need to use that information for decision making. Now, what happens if you want to retrieve the information you stored into the tables? If you want to filter out information, if let's say you stored information for the employees and then you want to see those ones on leave, for you to retrieve that information, to filter out that information for only the employees that are on leave, you use what we call queries. Okay, so after you generating that information that you're interested in, now you need to present it in a report form, and that's when we go to the report. That's when we go to the report functionality here, or the report partition, to generate a report of the query that you've generated out of your table records. So now you see that these four areas that these four components that we are going to look at are related in that way. That is the simple way I can explain it to you so that you can understand it. You design tables to store your information, then you use the forms to record the information into the tables. After recording information into the tables, you retrieve that information by using queries. After retrieving the information, you present it by using reports. So basically that's it, and let's get started. So when you open Microsoft, when you create your database, it is going to create for you one table by default, and it will name it table 1. Now, mostly when you're going to design anything, if you're going to adjust anything, if you're going to change anything, be it a table, be it a form, be it a query, be it a report, you have to right click on the table title here or on the left. Okay, you have to right click and go to the design view. So just have it in mind that whenever you want to make changes to your table or form or query, you have to be in the design view. So I also want to add some columns to my table. I'll simply go to the design view. Now, before I've saved the table, or if you've not saved the table, if you're going to the design view for the first time and you've not saved the table, Microsoft Access is going to prompt you to save that table first before you do any amendments to it. So I'll go ahead and call it employee table. Then after, I'll click OK. So my table is saved and it is displayed here in the left. Okay. So what you're seeing here in the design view, it is showing you the field name, the data type, and the description. Our main focus is going to be on the field name and the data type. The field name is basically the name of the column, based on the information that you're going to store into that column. If the column is going to store names, then you can name it names or name, based on what you're interested in. If it is going to store age, you can name it age. Okay, so the data type basically tells Microsoft Access the nature of the data that is going to be stored in that particular column. Is it going to be in form of text? Is it going to be a memo? Is it going to be in numbers? Is it going to be date or time? Is it going to be currency? Is it going to be auto number? Is it yes or no Boolean? Okay, like that. So basically the data type informs Access the nature of information. Okay, for example, if I assign this text, that means if I store in 1, Access is going to understand that 1 as text. So ideally it is not going to be 1 as you intend it to be, but rather a string or text form. So if I assign it number and I try to record that, to insert in a record in form of text, it is not going to accept, because it expects that records that are supposed to be in this column are supposed to be in number format. Okay, so now one thing you have to note, every table must have a primary key. A primary key is basically a unique identifier of any record. For example, if they are employees and they have their unique identifier in the organization is the employee number. When you're storing the records for those employees in your database, each employee is uniquely identified by the employee number. So what you do, the column that is going to store the employee number, which is the unique identifier of each employee, you flag it with a primary key. What shows that you've selected that column as a primary key? It is supposed to be having this key icon on the left. The key icon on the left. If you're not seeing the key icon, you simply just right click and then you select key. So in case you create your table and the field that you're interested in to be your primary key is not having that key icon, you simply right click and then select primary key. So you're informing Microsoft Access that, hey, look, this field here is going to be my primary key, and it is going to be the employee number. The employee number. So my employee number is going to be in form of text. So I'll remove number and I put text. One thing I'm going to just explain a little bit before I use text is the auto number. Basically what auto number does, if my employee numbers are auto-generated, if I want each employee to get that number whenever a record is added automatically, I will assign that column to be auto number, so that whenever you add employee 1, it will assign employee number 1. When I add a second record, the employee number will go to 2 automatically. So that database will be doing that auto increment, and that's what auto number does. So you only use it when your primary key first is in number format and you want it to auto increment. So for this case, I don't want my employee number to auto increment because I'm going to use things like 001 or 00D2, D1 like that, or employee 1. So I'm going to use text. Okay, so I'm going to store the employee name. The employee name is going to be in text. Okay, what is happening to my machine? It is freezing. Okay, it is going to be in text. I'm going to store the age. The age is going to be, actually I want to store the date of birth, so that when we go to the queries, I will show you how to generate the employee age basing on their date of birth. So for that case, I'm going to use date of birth. Date of birth is date or time. What else can we capture? We are going to select salary for that employee. Salary, we can decide to use numbers, we can decide to use currency. I'll just select number. Okay, so we are going to use these 4 columns as our dummy data. So what you design here shows the attributes that you're capturing from your employees. Whatever is not here in your table cannot be captured. If you're interested in adding some other information to your employees, for example, the date of joining, their status, okay, and other stuff, that means you have to come back to your database, that particular table, and make those changes, add those columns. So for now, if we save our table like this, it means we are only capturing the employee number, the name, the date of birth, and salary. Okay, so if you want to save your table, you still go here at the title, or you right click here and then look for, right click and then look for save. So now my table is saved. I can go ahead and close it. So for you to close that table, you just right click and then click on close. So I've so far created one table and it is here. Now I'm also going to demonstrate to you how to create a relationship between 2 tables. So for us to achieve that, I'm just going to create a second table, and maybe I'll call it departments table. So I'm going to go to create. I go to, if I want to go to table design direct, I'll click on table design, so it will take me to table design direct, or I can just go to table, and then it takes me to the other window that we saw in the first place. Then I right click and go to design view. So still it will prompt me to save this. I'll call it department table. Okay, then I'll save. So my department table is going to be having the ID, which is auto number. We'll leave auto number to that so that we can see how it works. It is already selected as the primary key. And then what I'll do here is to add the department name. Okay, the department name. Okay, the department name is going to be in text, so I'll go ahead and save this. So now that we have the departments table, it each employee is supposed to be under a particular department. So we have to specify the department for the employee. That means we are going to go back to our table. Okay, we open it from here. Then we are going to design it. We are going to make changes so that we can add a column for the department. Now remember, I told you, for you to make any changes to your table or form, okay, you have to be in the design view. So I'll go ahead and right click here, then go to design view and add department. Okay, the department for the employee. So the department is in form of text. And I'll right click and save the changes. Then I'll go ahead and close. So that's how we create a table in Microsoft Access. In the next tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to create a relationship between the two tables. Then after, I'll show you how to create forms so that we can insert some sample data into these tables. And then we go to queries and we look at reports, then like that. So thank you so much. Keep on following and we shall continue like that.